Hi Aquarius, and welcome to your overview for the year ahead. This is for all Aquarius sun, moon, and risings. The rising will be strongest, then followed by the sun sign, and then for some people they do resonate with their moon sign. However, this is a very internal and subjective energy. I do recommend if you also have a lot of planets in Aquarius, like a stellium or a stellium in your 11th house, to also check this out because some of the themes may be beneficial for you and you may resonate with them over the course of this year. The first transit I want to talk about is Venus retrograde in Capricorn. This is an ongoing theme that we've all been dealing with from December 19th. Venus will remain in retrograde until January 29th when she goes direct, and then she will just stay put until March 6th. For you, Aquarius, this is in your 12th house. So Venus is love, beauty, money, aesthetics. It's what we value. It's beauty. Cosmetic procedures are under here. So all that is coming under focus in relationship to your 12th house. And the 12th house is a very complex house, as many are. It is the house of endings, closure, healing, solitude. It's the house of, the unseen. So it also rules hidden things, prisons, hospitals, ashrams, addiction centers. It covers our subconscious wounds, so the ones that we don't have access to. It also is the house of sorrows and addictions. I think I mentioned that. So there could be some subconscious desires or maybe urgencies or longings, but you're just not able to pin them down. Like, where is this coming from? What is it? Like, what does this mean? And that's because this is a house of no form. So it's really hard to grasp what's happening. You might just feel feelings and not really understand where they're coming from. Venus is about love and beauty. So these themes may be coming up to review, subconsciously, right? So around self-worth and worthiness, lovability. It's almost like your subconscious closet. Things are bashing around in there, and as a result, you're feeling feelings, but you might not understand them. It's said that when we have 12th house activity, that our dreams are very crucial. So pay attention to your dreams. They might be premonitions. They might be helpful in uncovering what's coming up for you or what you need to process. A dream journal is really good, or working with a therapist who specializes in dream analysis. Anything 12th house is good. So hypnosis, past life regression, meditation, any type of spiritual practice. And I think I mentioned dream work. Because the 12th house rules the hidden, secrets about love or money could be coming to the surface. So these could be secrets that other people have kept from you regarding love and money, or the ones that you've kept from yourself. So if you have been secretive about love or a lover, and you do not want people to know, I'd be very careful because it could be revealed to the public or it could be exposed right now. The same thing goes with money. If you've been kind of shady with money, it will be revealed. Oops, excuse me. For some, there may be intense romantic fantasies. And, for some people, it might pull them into having a secret affair. Be very careful because starting an affair with Venus retrograde is just it's not good juju, right? It's never good juju to start an affair, but I do know that some of us have some karma to play off and we end up in those. So no judgment there, but just be careful because there could be consequences for you. And karma associated with that decision. So just be mindful of that. Your intuition regarding romance and money will be super strong. So pay attention to that. Logic is not going to help you in these matters. So if you are trying to use logic to figure someone out or figure out what you want in love or how you feel or to figure out money, it's going to cause more confusion. So trust your intuition. Everything's going to have to go off those gut feelings. Wait until January 29th when Venus goes direct. But keep in mind that Venus moves a bit slower than Mercury. So the hangover period might last a bit longer. So I would say by mid-February, you're going to feel a lot clearer in terms of financial or romantic decisions, and as well as your self-worth in relationship to these things. If your mental health has been kind of going through some stuff, this is when you're going to see like a break from that, or maybe a healing. And then by March 6th, Venus is totally moving out with your 12th house, so that will be nice. The next transit I want to talk about is Jupiter. So this is a really exciting one in the astrology world. Everyone is talking about it. So Jupiter in Pisces is wonderful, not only because wherever Jupiter goes is wonderful, but because Jupiter is at home in Pisces. He can do his best work. He can bless us more. He can expand more. He's just super comfortable there. It's like if you're in a foreign land and then you go home, like you speak the language, right? You understand their customs. You know how to find your way around the town, right? So it's like that. So Jupiter is in Pisces now and will remain there all the way through May 10th in your second house of earned income. Then he dips out into Aries and hangs out in your third house from May 10th to October 28th. And then he goes back into your second house from October 28th through December 20th into your, I think I said your second house already, sorry. So Jupiter expands. He brings luck and blessings, and life is just a bit easier there. We feel more fortunate there. We feel more generous in those areas too. The second house is the money we earn. So it's our income, it's our values and our material possessions. It's a very physical house, a tangible house, should I say. So Jupiter here, the biggest, thing that people think about is, luck and expansion when it comes to your earnings. During this time, you may see your income grow significantly. So your paycheck may increase, you may get a new job, your self-worth may increase, and usually that's because your earnings have increased. You also might be a bit more luxurious and want to buy more material possessions. So just be mindful, because the more we make, the more we tend to spend. So it's totally okay if you're making extra money, like treat yourself, but just be careful that you don't spend it all. Save some for a rainy day. Just because Jupiter can overdo it sometimes. That is the downfall with him. Be very careful if you don't want to gain weight, because Jupiter is indulgence and the second house is a physical house. So sometimes we see weight gain in the second house from like indulging in treats. But also this is financial indulgence, like I just talked about. Overall, this is a great time if you want to increase your earnings, if you want to ask for a raise, if you want to apply for that job that you don't think you'll get and it pays like double your salary. This is the time when you're more likely to get it. You also will your self-esteem and self-worth will you'll be so aligned and just so much more confident that you're actually able to go after these goals that you want. You also might be more generous with spending money on other people too. So that's always nice for the close people in your life. If you want to purchase an item of value, you could. House, car. Keep in mind of the Venus and the Mercury retrogrades. I would never suggest spending big, large amounts of money during those times. But other than that, it's a really good time to buy a item of value. So Jupiter will be there till May 10th, and then he's going to go hang out in your third house from May to October. So your third house is, it's very different than the second house. It's your mind, right? It's your thinking. It's how you communicate. So it's all forms of communication. So media, text, email, blogging, editing, writing, broadcasting, marketing, anything in communications. It rules siblings and relatives that are not your children or parents. So cousins and aunts and uncles are here. It rules your community and the close by neighborhood. So neighbors, community members, your hometown. It rules early education. So that's like kindergarten, like preschool, all the way up to high school, I'd say. And it also rules transportation. So not only the path you take to get to where you need to go, but it rules the vehicle you drive, whether that's a car, a boat, a train, a wheelchair, a bike. And then, of course, it rules short distance travel. So you might see an increase in some of these areas at this time. For example, you might do some more short distance travel in between that time, and it would be really beneficial for you. Like it would be lucky in some way. You might also gain through these people I mentioned. So siblings, aunts, uncles. there could be more opportunity to like learn. And it wouldn't be learning like at a higher institution like PhD or master's level. It would be like a tech program or a, 1 month certification program. So you're going to have opportunities to learn, and you might actually be hungry to learn more. You're just going to want to absorb everything you possibly can. You're going to almost be like a Gemini during this time. Your communication will benefit you in some way. So if you have to write a speech, if you have to give a lecture, it could go really well. Maybe it could go viral, or it would set you on a new path for the future ahead. I mean, keep in mind that this little period from May to October is giving you a sneak peek of what 2023 will be like. So maybe you take a course in public speaking and then it really benefits you. And then next year is when it really booms for you and you get that financial benefit from this public speaking. I mean, that's just one example. Again, if you need a car, it would be a good time to buy it, keeping in mind the Mercury and Venus retrogrades. But Venus retrograde will be gone by this point. So just make sure it's not a Mercury retrograde when you buy. Any vehicle, wheelchair, any type of transportation would be good. But yeah, overall, I think your communication is going to see a boost, and you're just going to benefit from either your own communication or through communication channels somehow. So also think of like social media, or I should say media. Social media is more like in the 11th house, but yeah, I mean, I think media is covered in the third house as well, like broadcasting and stuff like that. If you work with tech or devices, that might be notable for you at this time as well. If like a sibling or an aunt and uncle or aunt or uncle offer to have you come over or suggest a program for you to look into, really do your research and look into it, because this could be very lucky in some way, right? So I know when people say you benefit from your sibling, it could be because your sibling just, gives you a gift or something, but it also could be the information your sibling is telling you can benefit you. So just keep that in mind. It would also be a really good time to get to know your neighbors in your community, because there's luck in that. There's luck in that as well, excuse me. So that kind of covers what Jupiter the third house is in a snippet. The next transit I want to talk about is Saturn in Aquarius. So this has been a long-term transit for you. Saturn moved into your sign, I believe, March 2020. And we saw what that did collectively, right, with the lockdowns. And Saturn's going to stay here until March 2023 in your first house. So this is an ongoing theme that you've been dealing with. So Saturn is the opposite of Jupiter. Where Jupiter expands, Saturn restricts. Saturn's not very fun, right? He makes us work very hard and sometimes doesn't even reward us till the very end. Sometimes we feel like he's not even noticing the work we're putting in. He will test our foundations in whatever house he is in. He will make us be patient, as he is the father of time. He's also the father of karma, and he rules consequences. So not the funnest planet, but he's in your first house. So the first house is our self. It's our appearances. It's the physical body. It's first impressions. It's our identity. It's how we approach the world and life. It's our attitudes. So the first house is similar to the sixth in the sense of the physical body. So for some people, there might be physical strain, right? Maybe there's been an injury or a health issue. If that's the case, Saturn is showing you where you need to change because what you were doing is not serving you anymore. It's a really great time to clean up your image or appearance. Your physical body, your image, your identity, that's going to be in huge focus now through March 2023. And you're going to be almost like a new you once Saturn leaves. It's also a really good time to focus on a new health routine, diet plan, or maybe not diet per se, but just eating whole foods, for example, cutting out sugar, just eating healthier in general, taking supplements. And the routines you set now will be lifelong because Saturn will ground them. So if you're someone who's like, I just can't seem to get into a workout routine, maybe not on the Mercury retrograde, but maybe once Mercury goes direct, to start doing a new workout routine because it's more likely to stick right now. Because Saturn is so serious and like mature and responsible, you might just have this more serious attitude and outlook on life. Maybe friends or family have noticed. Maybe you don't seem as fun, but it's because you're really focused on being responsible and mature. For some people, this may cause loneliness and depression. You know, there are higher expressions and lower expressions of every planet and sign. So, you know, you might feel pressure here, right? Your confidence might feel lower and that you know, need to seek external validation. And, you know, this wouldn't be really good because if you didn't get what you were looking for, it would just further reaffirm that low self confidence. And ultimately, Saturn is forcing you to find that from within, not, you know, externally. So just know that Saturn's not being mean. He's strengthening a foundation that needs to be strengthened, right? He's showing us where our foundations are weak and where we need to fix them. So by the time Saturn leaves in March 2023, you will have a clear understanding of who you are. And Saturn's going to help with that because he's going to remove anything that's like superficial or unstable. When it comes to work, you also may feel pressure here, especially if your identity is associated with what you do, for example. But you know, just know that even if you can't see progress now, that a lot is happening because you are laying the foundation for years to come. So I just want to tell anyone out there, especially Aquarius risings, sun and risings, if you're feeling pressure, if your self-confidence is taking a hit, if you're feeling depressed or lonely, this is just Saturn, and he's showing you what needs to change. So just do what he wants, be responsible, make the changes, and you are going to come out a better, stronger version of you. The next thing I want to talk about is Mars. So Mars is entering Aquarius, your sign, March 7th through October 14th, again in the first house. So this is a very short transit, but I really encourage you to write this down. The reason I wanted to talk about this is because we have Saturn already in the first house, and that is a malefic planet, right? A malefic planet is a planet that is not a benefic, right? Saturn doesn't bless and give us gifts and goodies. He is challenging, sometimes very difficult. Mars is also a malefic. So we have two challenging planets in one house. And so there's going to be a lot of concentration in your first house. And so I'm wanting to share this with people so they understand what's happening and they can utilize this energy to their best ability, and also know that it's going to pass if it is a bit uncomfortable. So let's talk about the positives of Mars. Mars is energy, drive, ambition, charisma, motivation. Mars is confidence, right? So that can be the higher energy, right? If Mars is moving into this house where you felt restricted and lonely and like you're doing all this work and getting nowhere, Mars might kind of give you that pep in your step again. So you might feel more ambitious, maybe even more attractive, more goal-oriented, and have more energy for physical fitness and health matters, which in turn might make you feel better about yourself and your confidence. If you did lack confidence, you might now just feel more confident and have more initiative. So these are all the wonderful things about Mars. You'll just be more of a go-getter. You'll have this Aries energy in you. But the downsides of Mars is that he rules conflict, aggression, war, cutting, metal, right? So we'll talk about what that might mean. He's very inflammatory. So you just be careful that you're not coming off overly aggressive or being too ego driven or hurting yourself via, you know, excess physical exercise. You know, Mars is the planet of war, so this could cause more drama than necessary if you're not watching these tendencies. You know, physical exercise is a wonderful way to utilize this energy, especially because this is the first house and it rules the body. So get your body moving. If you are someone who is pretty sedentary, you're going to feel very irritable at this time, and you're going to take it out on someone. So get your body moving. Mars also rules cutting and metal, so be careful around metal things and be careful that you don't cut yourself or injure yourself, because Mars is very impatient. So you might just kind of, you know, be bulldozing around and hurt yourself. And, you know, forewarned is forearmed. So just, you know, keep that in mind. Just know either way, if this is more unpleasant for you, just know that the energy is going to pass very quickly. But my hope is that the Mars energy will kind of wake you up and give you some more ambition and help you out in your career and like pursuing the things you want to pursue. The next transit I want to talk about is Uranus. So Uranus is going direct in Taurus January 18th in your 4th house of home and family. So Uranus is a planet you're familiar with. It's your ruling planet. So Uranus likes to shock. It is kind of the wild card because he can go to extremes. He can have wonderful breakthroughs and surprises, but also shocking surprises that make us feel very uncomfortable and challenge us. He's very unstable. So knowing that energy, we need to apply that to what the 4th house is. So the 4th house is home, family, real estate, property, domestic matters, your parents, primarily your mother, your childhood psychology, your foundation, trying to think of anything, just your emotions in general. So, this could manifest a few ways. It could just be that your emotions are fluctuating, very highs and very lows. It could be that your living situation changes drastically and out of the blue for good reasons or for reasons that are not so good. No matter what, Uranus wants to liberate us. So in the end, it's for our highest good, but it might be very destabilizing, sorry. So let's just say you rent an apartment and then they're bulldozing it down to change it into condos. That actually happened to someone I knew years ago. I don't know if it was Uranus in her 4th house, but that's something I think about. It could be that you suddenly have to move because maybe a family member is in need, or changes in work. You could move for work, you could buy a home, and as a result move. Some people could separate or divorce and have to move out. There could be sudden changes in family and family dynamics. Again, for better or for worse. There could be people entering the family, people leaving the family, new family members. If it's badly aspected, it can mean, death of a family member, but I don't like to really predict those things. It could also just mean a family member leaves, like your sister divorces her partner or something, and so he's no longer in the family or something like that. Your family members may also be shocking you with the decisions they're making. So you're just being asked to be very flexible when it comes to 4th house matters. If you're in real estate, there's going to be major fluctuations. For many, you might feel very stable and uprooted during this time, but you will eventually reestablish your foundation. So just know that. Over the next few years, you could move a lot. Your child's psychology is under here in your ancestry, so you could have a major revelation in these areas. And, again, Uranus wants to liberate you, so no matter how shocking or destabilizing the information is that you learn, in the end, you will feel better for it. Now, Uranus has been here since May 2018 and will stay here until I think it's 2026. So this is a long-term transit and something that you're quite familiar with by now. The last transit I want to talk about is the eclipses. So the eclipses are in Taurus and Scorpio. The transiting north node is in Taurus and the transiting south node is in Scorpio. This puts it in your 4th and 10th house, the north node in your 4th, the south node in your 10th. And this is, really important because Uranus is in your 4th and you also have the north node in your 4th house. So there's an emphasis on 4th house matters this year for you, Aquarius. So the north node is our destiny, right? If we are not where we need to be, the north node will put us on that path, and it can be quite abrupt and quite uncomfortable. Uranus is very similar in that sense, right? He will liberate us, and he doesn't really care if we're comfortable or not. So home and family may be more of a focus for you this year. Maybe a family member is in need of you or requires more from you. You might be spending more time at home. For some, you might be moving away for a job. If you were in the spotlight in your career, you might be more focused on domestic matters. There's going to be a balance between home and family this year. They might pull you in two opposite directions, and your job is to balance those two. For some, you might have a baby or expand your family. You might be more focused on your roots and building a solid foundation to grow your own family. And as a result, your career either takes a backseat or just needs to be very carefully balanced. There could be fated changes in your family dynamic, household living situation. The fourth house also rules our childhood psychology, and the 10th house is our public image and career. So you might be forced to deal with old wounds. If you have been more focused on career and status, you are being asked to purge these issues from childhood and integrate and heal them. This could happen quite suddenly when you realize, you have a lot more work to do when it comes to that. So rather than focusing on the external, Spirit is telling you when you balance the internal, the external will flourish. So if you want to boost your career or image, the way is through, internal work at this time. If you've been estranged from your family, this may, bring you back together. This would be very karmic, of course. But yeah, career and home and family are going to be taking up a lot of your year. And a lot of fated happenings when it comes to home and family for you, Aquarius. So that's what I have for you. I hope that it made sense and wasn't too much. If you liked, please like, share, subscribe. If any of these themes resonated, I'd love to hear how. If there was something that I didn't mention that resonates or that was about one of these transits that I've talked about, please, comment. I'd love to learn from other people as well. But yeah, thanks for tuning in and stay tuned for some more videos.